Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went there? Or struggled to remember a name you've known for years? If you're over 55, there's a chance this isn't just normal aging. Research estimates that anywhere from 5% to 20% of older adults may have low vitamin B12 levels, and many don't even realize it. This single deficiency could be quietly affecting your memory, your mood, and even your ability to think clearly. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most overlooked nutritional issues affecting brain health in older adults: vitamin B12 deficiency. This isn't about miracle cures or quick fixes. This is about understanding a real, scientifically documented problem that affects millions of people worldwide, and more importantly, what you can do about it. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this vitamin is so critical for your brain, why people over 55 are especially vulnerable, and how to recognize the warning signs before serious damage occurs. So what exactly is vitamin B12, and why does your brain depend on it so much? Vitamin B12, also called cobalamin, is a water-soluble vitamin that plays essential roles throughout your body. But its impact on your nervous system and brain function is particularly profound. Your brain uses B12 to produce myelin, which is the protective coating around your nerve fibers. Think of myelin like the insulation around electrical wires. Without proper insulation, the electrical signals in your brain can't travel efficiently. When B12 levels drop, this myelin begins to break down and the communication between brain cells becomes disrupted. B12 is also involved in the production of neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that allow your brain cells to communicate with each other. Additionally, B12 helps regulate homocysteine, an amino acid in your blood. Studies have linked elevated homocysteine levels with a higher risk of cognitive decline and brain shrinkage over time. When you have adequate B12, your body can convert homocysteine into other beneficial substances. Without enough B12, homocysteine levels rise, and studies suggest this may contribute to damage in brain tissue over time. Now, here's where it gets particularly relevant if you're over 55. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at absorbing vitamin B12 from food. This happens for several specific reasons. B12 absorption requires something called intrinsic factor, a protein produced in your stomach. Many older adults develop a condition called atrophic gastritis, where the stomach lining becomes inflamed and produces less stomach acid and less intrinsic factor. Some estimates suggest that 10 to 30% of adults over 50 have difficulty absorbing B12 from food because of reduced stomach acid production. Another major factor is medications. Many medications that are commonly prescribed to older adults can interfere with B12 absorption. Proton pump inhibitors and H2 receptor blockers, which are used to treat acid reflux and heartburn, reduce stomach acid. While this helps with digestive discomfort, it also makes it harder for your body to extract B12 from the proteins in food. Metformin, a common medication for type 2 diabetes, has also been associated with reduced B12 levels in some studies. If you've been taking any of these medications for extended periods, your B12 stores may be gradually depleting without you realizing it. And here's something crucial to understand. Vitamin B12 is found naturally only in animal-based foods. If you follow a vegetarian or vegan diet, or if you reduce your intake of meat, fish, eggs, and dairy as you've gotten older, you may not be getting enough B12 from your diet alone. Unlike some other vitamins, your body cannot produce B12 on its own. You must get it from external sources, either through food or supplements. So what happens to your memory and cognitive function when B12 levels drop too low? The effects can be subtle at first, which is why this deficiency is often called a silent problem. Many people dismiss the early symptoms as just normal aging, but research tells us there's more going on. Studies have shown that B12 deficiency is associated with memory problems, difficulty concentrating, confusion, and slower thinking. In more severe cases, prolonged deficiency can contribute to significant cognitive impairment. One particularly concerning finding from research is that some of the neurological damage from prolonged B12 deficiency may not be fully reversible, if left untreated for too long. The myelin damage we talked about earlier doesn't always completely repair itself, especially if the deficiency has persisted for months or years. This is why early detection is so important. The sooner you identify and address a B12 deficiency, the better your chances of preventing lasting cognitive effects. What are the warning signs you should watch for? Memory problems are often the first thing people notice, but B12 deficiency can show up in other ways too. Some people experience a strange tingling or numbness in their hands and feet. This happens because B12 deficiency affects the peripheral nerves, not just the brain. You might feel unusually tired or weak, even when you're getting enough sleep. Some people notice changes in their mood, feeling more depressed or irritable than usual. Balance problems and difficulty walking can also occur because B12 is essential for maintaining the nerves that control movement and coordination. The challenge is that these symptoms develop gradually. You might not wake up one day and suddenly realize something is wrong. Instead, you might just feel like you're slowing down, becoming more forgetful, or losing your sharpness bit by bit. Family members sometimes notice the changes before the person experiencing them does. They might comment that you seem more confused lately, or that you're repeating yourself more often, or that you're having trouble following conversations the way you used to. Here's something important to understand. These symptoms aren't specific to B12 deficiency alone. They can be caused by many different conditions, from thyroid problems to depression to other neurological issues. That's why you can't diagnose yourself based on symptoms alone. But if you're over 55 and you're experiencing any combination of memory problems, fatigue, mood changes, or neurological symptoms like tingling or balance issues, it's worth having a conversation with your healthcare provider about checking your B12 levels. Research has consistently shown that maintaining adequate B12 levels is associated with better cognitive function in older adults. Some studies have found that older adults with higher B12 levels perform better on memory tests and experience less brain volume loss over time compared to those with lower levels. While we need to be careful not to overstate the findings, the evidence suggests that B12 plays a protective role in preserving brain health as we age. What makes this particularly important is that B12 deficiency is both common and treatable. While many age-related issues are complex, B12 deficiency is one area where simple action can make a real difference. The key is awareness, testing, and taking appropriate action when needed. Now that you understand why vitamin B12 is so critical for your brain and why deficiency becomes more common after 55, what can you actually do about it? The most important step is getting tested. You cannot know your B12 status just by how you feel. The standard test is a blood test that measures the amount of B12 in your bloodstream, usually reported as serum B12 or serum cobalamin. Many experts suggest that adults over 50 consider checking their B12 levels, especially if they have any risk factors we discussed earlier, such as taking certain medications, following a plant-based diet, or experiencing any cognitive or neurological symptoms. Here's something important to know about testing. A standard blood test is a good start, but on its own, it may not tell the full story, which is why doctors sometimes check MMA or homocysteine for clarity. Some people can have what appears to be normal B12 levels on a blood test, but still have functional B12 deficiency at the cellular level. This is why some doctors also order additional tests, such as methylmalonic acid, or MMA, and homocysteine levels. These substances increase when your cells don't have enough functional B12, so they can provide a more complete picture. If your doctor says your B12 is borderline or low normal, and you're experiencing symptoms, it may be worth discussing these additional tests. The reference ranges for B12 can vary somewhat between laboratories, but generally, levels below 200 picograms per milliliter are considered deficient, while levels between 200 and 300 are considered borderline or low normal. Some experts suggest that optimal levels for brain health may be in the range of 400 to 900 picograms per milliliter, though individual needs can vary. Your healthcare provider can interpret your specific results and recommend appropriate action based on your individual situation. So how do you get enough B12 to keep your brain functioning well? Vitamin B12 is naturally found in animal-based foods. The richest sources include shellfish, particularly clams and mussels, which contain exceptionally high amounts. Beef liver is also extremely high in B12, though many people don't regularly consume organ meats. More common sources that can help you meet your daily needs include fish, such as salmon, trout, and tuna. Beef and lamb provide good amounts of B12. Dairy products including milk, cheese, and yogurt contain B12, as do eggs. The recommended dietary allowance for adults is 2.4 micrograms per day. To put this in perspective, 3 ounces of cooked salmon provides roughly 2.4 micrograms, meeting your daily requirement. One large egg contains approximately 0.6 micrograms. 1 cup of milk provides about 1.2 micrograms. If you eat a varied diet that includes animal products, you can generally meet your B12 needs through food alone, assuming your body is absorbing it properly. But here's the catch we mentioned earlier. Absorption becomes the critical issue as you age. Even if you're eating plenty of B12, rich foods, if your stomach isn't producing enough acid or intrinsic factor, you may not be absorbing sufficient amounts. This is why many healthcare providers recommend B12 supplementation for older adults, even those who consume animal products regularly. When it comes to supplements, there are several forms available. The most common are cyanocobalamin and methylcobalamin. Both are effective, though they work slightly differently in the body. Cyanocobalamin is a synthetic form most commonly found in over-the-counter supplements and fortified foods. Your body must convert it into active forms, but it's stable, well-researched, and effective for most people. Methylcobalamin is already in an active form that your body can use directly. Some people prefer this form, though research hasn't definitively shown that one is superior to the other for most individuals. For older adults with absorption issues, high-dose oral supplements can be effective. Studies have shown that taking 1,000 to 2,000 micrograms daily by mouth can raise B12 levels even in people with absorption problems, because at high doses, a small percentage is absorbed through passive diffusion, which doesn't require intrinsic factor. Sublingual forms, which dissolve under the tongue, are also popular, though evidence suggests they may not be significantly more effective than regular tablets for most people. For individuals with severe deficiency or significant absorption problems, healthcare providers may recommend B12 injections. These bypass the digestive system entirely and deliver B12 directly into the muscle tissue, where it enters the bloodstream. The typical protocol involves more frequent injections initially to restore levels, then maintenance injections as determined by your doctor based on your response to treatment and follow-up blood tests. The frequency can vary from weekly to monthly, depending on individual needs. It's worth noting that vitamin B12 has a very low risk of toxicity, even at doses much higher than the recommended daily allowance. Because it's water-soluble, excess amounts are generally excreted in urine rather than accumulating to harmful levels. However, this doesn't mean you should take megadoses without medical guidance. Always work with your healthcare provider to determine the appropriate dose and form for your specific situation, especially if you have any underlying health conditions. Many breakfast cereals, plant-based milk alternatives, and nutritional yeasts are fortified with B12. If you follow a vegetarian or vegan diet, these fortified foods can be important sources. However, check the nutrition labels carefully to see how much B12 they actually provide, and remember that you'll need to consume them regularly and consistently to maintain adequate levels. Here's a practical action plan you can start implementing today. If you're over 55 and haven't had your B12 levels checked recently, schedule an appointment with your healthcare provider to discuss testing. Be sure to mention any symptoms you've been experiencing, any medications you're taking, and your dietary patterns. This information will help your doctor make informed recommendations tailored to your situation. Take an honest look at your diet. Are you regularly consuming B12-rich foods? If you're vegetarian or vegan, are you consistently getting B12 from fortified foods or supplements? If there are gaps in your nutrition, now is the time to address them. Consider adding more fish, eggs, or dairy to your diet if you consume animal products, or ensure you're taking an appropriate B12 supplement if you don't. If you're taking medications that can interfere with B12 absorption, don't stop them without talking to your doctor first, but do have a conversation about whether B12 supplementation would be appropriate for you. Many people on long-term proton pump inhibitors or metformin benefit from regular B12 monitoring and supplementation. Pay attention to your body and your cognitive function. Keep track of any changes in memory, concentration, mood, or physical symptoms like tingling or fatigue. If you notice concerning changes, don't dismiss them as just part of getting older. Bring them to your healthcare provider's attention so they can be properly evaluated. Understand that protecting your brain health is a long-term commitment that involves multiple factors. B12 is just one piece of the puzzle. Regular physical activity, mental stimulation, social engagement, quality sleep, stress management, and a balanced diet rich in various nutrients all contribute to maintaining cognitive function as you age. But ensuring adequate B12 is a foundational step that's relatively straightforward to address once you're aware of it. Research continues to expand our understanding of B12 and brain health. While we've learned a tremendous amount, scientists are still studying the optimal levels for different populations, the best supplementation strategies for various age groups, and how B12 interacts with other nutrients and factors affecting cognitive aging. What we know with confidence today is that B12 deficiency is common in older adults. It can negatively affect brain function. It's often overlooked in routine care, and it's treatable when identified. The bottom line is this: if you're over 55, you're at increased risk for B12 deficiency simply because of age-related changes in how your body absorbs this essential nutrient. Add in common medications or dietary patterns that limit B12 intake, and the risk becomes even higher. The good news is that with awareness, appropriate testing, and proper supplementation or dietary adjustments when needed, you can help protect your brain from this preventable contributor to cognitive decline. Your memory, your mental clarity, and your overall cognitive health are worth protecting. Don't wait until symptoms become severe or lasting damage occurs. Take action now to ensure your B12 levels are adequate. Talk to your healthcare provider, get tested if appropriate, and make the necessary dietary or supplementation changes to support your brain health for years to come. Remember, this information is educational and not a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider before making changes to your diet or starting any new supplements, especially if you have existing health conditions or take medications. If you found this information valuable, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more evidence-based content on brain health, cognitive wellness, and healthy aging. Your brain has served you well throughout your life. Now it's time to make sure you're giving it the nutritional support it needs to continue serving you well into the future. Take care of your brain, and it will take care of you.